You know, as I listen to a lot of the stuff you say, you know, as a kid, my son says, I said, what do you want to be when you grow up? I want to be Peter Parker. Okay, awesome. You know, what do you want to be when you grow up? I want to be this, I want to be that. You cannot help yourself but talk about Matrix, right? And you can't help yourself but talk about Star Wars. And when you and I spoke at your house, you're like, yeah, well, you know, we're competing against, we're going to build a media company, go against Walt Disney and all this other stuff. And, you know, we're already creating comic books and stories, and we're going to do it. Oh, your mind is already going there. And then when I look at your partner, Ron Pena, he says, well, when you ask him, what was a special event in March of 1984? Oh, I went into martial arts. Why? Because I wanted to be a ninja. But then also he wanted to be Batman. Like, he's got this one picture doing the splits. He looks like Batman and Jean-Claude Van Damme combined. And then you got your partner, Mike Osborne, who is the Iowa, you know, the whole farm boy, all that stuff that he has. Did you guys all kind of get along where secretly it's like, listen, man, I want to be Batman. I want to be this, and I want to be that. Like, did it almost became okay to talk this crazy language that to the world is like, you guys are corny and crazy, you're full of it. Like, was there that level of connection? Because that's almost what it seems like when I watch you guys.
Yeah, I won't throw Mike under the bus. That was definitely not his MO. He was not into that stuff. But yeah, one of the first things Ron and I bonded over was comics and our love of Batman. So my dog was actually named Batman when I met Ron.
You're serious?
Yeah. And I'd been collecting comics since I was 16.
I love that.
And the part of the reason that people gravitate towards Batman is because he doesn't have superpowers, right? So, and the fascinating thing about the comic industry is if you were actually in it, it grew with the readers. So they became very adult. Like if you read Batman now, unless you're reading like one of the ones aimed at kids, it's dark shit, man. Like they're really dealing with like loss and obsession and growth and like how much you're capable of and how much you have to hold yourself accountable. Like Batman is for growth mindseted people is the story. And
you still read?
Yeah.
Really? You still read?
Of course.
Like how often?
I try to read. My fantasy would be to read every day. I try to read every week.
That's crazy.
But like even now, in my bag, I was reading on the plane, I'm reading a story called I Am a Hero. But it's very adult. It's a zombie apocalypse, but I mean, whatever.
I'm a baseball card guy. Now, do you have any original, like Superman 1? You can't afford any of this
stuff. I have like the...
What do you have? What are special comic books you got?
I have some big stuff from the 90s.
Okay,
but the problem was that in the 90s, so much of it was made. There was this huge speculation boom. So it's like you may have something that's like a big cultural moment, but it's one of a million.
That's right.
Whereas now, like, there really is rare stuff where there may have only been 2,500 printed, period.
You have no desire to own that kind of stuff.
Collecting it isn't the juice.
Got it.
It's the
story.
Yeah, I really believe that the way that humans assimilate truly disruptive information is through narrative. And so part of the way that I've changed my life, that I've opened my mind to things like a growth mindset is through, like The Matrix. It's not a mistake that The Matrix came out the year that I was going through this like, am I able to improve myself or not? The movie comes out, ends up becoming the dominant metaphor of my life. I'd love to say that it was a lightning rod moment when I saw it. My life has changed forever. It wasn't like that, but it planted a seed that I just kept coming back to. Oh man, it's like Neo in The Matrix. Oh man, like yeah, like Morpheus said.
You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
Or like Yoda in Star Wars, and you just start piecing together like these fascinating belief systems. Because a lot of times the wisest characters in films are often taken from, like Yoda sounds exactly like Lao Tzu from the Tao Te Ching.
Yep.
So it's like, basically, you've got George Lucas, who's very familiar with Eastern philosophy, talking Eastern philosophy through this little puppet, but especially if you hear it when you're young, man, like your mind is really open to it.
Yeah.
So because of Star Wars, I ended up becoming obsessed with the Tao Te Ching, and then because of that, that ultimately was my doorway to a growth mindset.